it's Mira Binson here, author and co-founder, along with my mom and sister, of Global Family Wellness. We are here to empower you and your family to live a life of total well-being. Yoga is a big part of that. Yoga is the practice of self-discovery. It's a devotion to your own divinity. So think about what that means to you. It might not be exactly what you might have seen on the cover of a magazine or something like that, but in just a few minutes, you can use the technology of yoga to feel better, to feel less anxious and more awesome, or to just feel more calm and energized and satisfied. Yoga is the practice of self-understanding and self-regulation, which allows you to develop self-mastery. And that's what it's all about. So you might be thinking, yeah, maybe I'd like to try it, but what kind of props do I need to practice yoga on my own at home? So I wanted to cover some basics so that you feel confident in getting started or having a more consistent daily practice of yoga. Yoga includes movement and postures. So you put your body into shapes. You sometimes stretch and move in and out of those shapes. It also involves regulated breathing, meditation, and relaxation. So what kind of props do you need to do that? Honestly, you don't need any props at all. You can do it on the floor, you can do it on the carpet, you can do it on the rug, you can do it on a hardwood floor. I don't recommend tile because burr, but you really don't need to let not having something keep you from experiencing your best self. However, there are some simple things that you could have that will make it easier for you. When you've got some tools that you can see, it kind of encourages you, it helps you to do it. So the number one thing I recommend for a prop is a yoga mat. There are a lot of different yoga mats, and it just depends on your interest and the kind of investment you want to make. This is a very basic yoga mat. It's pretty thin. They are available everywhere. When I first started teaching yoga to children, it was 1999, and yoga mats were not available in the stores. My mom's friend handed down her yoga mat to me. I was like, oh, I have my own yoga mat. It was really special. Well, now you can get these at the front entrance of a big box hardware store. You can get them at any kind of a shop where you would buy clothes or other household supplies. I've seen them for as cheap as $6 up to $15 for this kind of a thin mat. I have another kind of a mat, so this will work perfectly. Oh, and a note about kids mats. Only little toddlers, like 3 and 4-year-olds, want kid-size yoga mats. By the time a child is 5 years old, they want a grown-up size yoga mat. So don't waste your money on a kid's yoga mat because they're going to want a grown-up's yoga mat soon enough anyways. Unless you want to have a cute kid's yoga mat. That's totally awesome too. Now this is a much thicker, much more expensive and sturdy yoga mat. I've had this mat for over 10 years, so it was an investment, but I haven't had to replace it. Do you know what I like about this mat? My cat cannot get her claws into it. So my cat would tear this thing up with her claws. She doesn't anymore, but when she was a younger kitty, she would just scratch it and it would just all crumble and fall apart. So this one's much more sustainable and that will last a long time. It's thicker, so it's more comfortable. So if you're practicing on a wood floor versus a carpet or a rug, then you might want a thicker mat like this. So this brand is Monduka. There's a lot of different big high quality yoga mats like this. So think about how much comfort you want or need, how much money you want to invest, and honestly, I would start with just an inexpensive yoga mat so you have something there if you don't already. Do you already have a yoga mat? Please type in the comments and let me know. I'll bet you do. Again, when I first started teaching kids, no kids had yoga mats because no kids have been practicing yoga. Well, now when I teach a kids or family yoga class, most people come with their own yoga mats. So they're very easy to get, and you probably have one in your house somewhere, and you might just need to get it out and dust it off. So I recommend a yoga mat. If you're gonna have a second prop, and you don't need it, but if you're gonna have one, a blanket. Everybody's got blankets around their house, right? So grab a blanket, and the criteria for a good yoga blanket is that it has a tight weave. Not like this one that has a loose waffly weave because it's going to be too flat. What I want to do with a blanket is I want to make a nice fold so I have an edge, and with this edge I've made like a platform. I can use this platform to sit on when I'm doing my regulated breathing or my meditation, it just makes it a little more comfortable to have my hips elevated, then my knees can relax. So a blanket is really good for that. And you can also fold it, again, to make it a higher lift if that's going to be more comfortable for you. You can put it underneath different parts of your body to help your body be more comfortable in a yoga posture. And one of the best uses of a blanket is to unfurl it and cover yourself when it's time to relax. Relaxation is a part of the yoga practice. Please don't skip it. And if you have a nice favorite blanket, this is my yoga blanket. I've had it for 20 years. I got it in the parking lot of a Grateful Dead concert. That's true. That's the truth. And it's been my yoga blanket forever. And every time I put it on, it's just like, it's a reference to that place of feeling relaxed and peaceful and being devoted to my own divinity. So when you have these things with you, it triggers your mind. Our minds are very habitual. So having these things in a certain place kind of makes that practice happen a little more easily. So another prop you don't need but might be nice to have is a block. This is a yoga block. They're especially made for the practice of yoga. You have 3 heights to choose from, so it's super handy. For what the block is made of, I don't recommend wood because wood is slippery and wood is heavy, and especially with kids, wood blocks fall and crush toes, and I don't recommend wood blocks. Cork blocks, that's what this is. Cork blocks are nice because they're warm and they have a good texture, a firm texture, so you're not going to slip on them. And they're not as dangerous when they fall. The safest blocks to use, if you do have young kids in your house and you want to have yoga props, are foam blocks. And you might want to have some rules around the foam blocks. Like the foam blocks are only for yoga, not for throwing at your brother or sister, or whatever kind of rules you want to have. But a foam block, they're all the same shape, but foam blocks are very light. So if they do fall out of a young child's hand and land on their toe, it's not going to hurt. And so a block is nice because it helps give you access to a posture. So an example is triangle pose. If I'm like struggling to reach the ground, I can put a block here or even here, and that allows me to have that stability of having my hand on something firm, but I'm not like struggling to reach the ground or leaning against my hand. So that's how a block is used. We can use them in some restorative poses as well. For example, bridge pose is really one of the best poses to do for restorative. When you're lying on your back, your head stays on the ground, and you can just slide that block right underneath your hips, below the top edge of the hips, and just laying with your pelvic area open and relaxed like this is so beneficial. So again, if you've got a block sitting right here, you can just walk over, roll out your yoga mat, put your hips on this block, lay there for 2 minutes, and get back to making dinner or whatever it is that you have going on. So that's really the reason to have some yoga props around the house. You're like, oh, there's my yoga block, I want to use it. So do you have a yoga block? If so, please type yes, I have a yoga block in the comments. Go dust it off and go use it right now. One more yoga prop I recommend, and there are so many, but keep it simple so you get the job done. A little bit of yoga practice every day is going to make a huge difference. It doesn't have to be cool and sophisticated like it was in the yoga class you took out in the community for an hour. Just a few minutes on your mat every day is going to make a difference in your life. So having some simple things that facilitate that happening is really what yoga props are about. So another prop that's kind of fun is an eye bag. Now you can make this so it's a cute little animal with a tail and some little paws, but any kind of material and any kind of filling. Eye bags are great because they really help to quiet the mind. So like I mentioned, relaxation is an important part of yoga practice. Even if you're just going to do a couple minutes, it's worthwhile to lay down and relax because this is how your energy body regulates and adapts to the benefits of the yoga that you've done before it. And so you can put this on your eyes when you're laying down. You can also put it across your forehead when you're laying down. So the weight of the eye bag on your forehead can soothe your mind. And again, if that's all you're gonna do is go lay on your yoga mat and put an eye bag on your forehead, that's awesome. Please do it. Don't discount these tiny little moments of yoga because they all help you, they all benefit you. And yoga's kind of contagious. When you do a little bit, you're going to want to naturally do a little bit more. But for a lot of us, it's just getting started. It seems like this big, distant dream of a luxurious yoga practice every day. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be super simple and super practical. Just like you have a toothbrush in a handy spot so that you brush your teeth every day. Yoga is just like that. So an eye bag can be a nice accessory. You can put it on your chest. You can even put it on your tummy when you're laying down to help feel your deep abdominal breath. Kids like this kind of stuff. And again, you might want to have some rules around this. Yoga is a practice of being devoted to your own divinity, so maybe you don't want to use eye bags and blocks as toys that kids are throwing around the room. You might keep them in a special place and have them for a special purpose and have some sort of a sacredness around your yoga props. That's totally up to you based on how you feel about that kind of thing. But that's just a suggestion because obviously these look like toys, right? So you just want to say, these are special. Would you like to do some yoga together? And kids naturally love to do yoga, which is why it's so fun to share the practice with them. So let me know what props you have, what props you're inspired to get. Do what's within your means and use them. Put them in a place and have them set up in a way where you can use your yoga props and benefit from the practice of yoga, of moving your body, of regulating your breath, of focusing your mind and relaxing completely. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you'd like more of these simple tips to live a holistic life of well-being, please subscribe to our channel. You can like this video if you liked it. Share it with a friend who might be looking for some ideas about how a simple yoga practice in their home. And we'll see you again soon.